Good morning. Today we are going to go over chapter 4 practice tests, and this is the homework assignment. Remember that you want to be able to work this out first before you come back to the website to see if you worked it out correctly. We are going to start working on problem number 1. Now I want you to notice the difference between number 1 and number 5. On problem number 1, you need to find the vertex. And you need to be able to use the formula x is equal to negative b over 2a. That will give you the x value. On problem number 5, to find the vertex is very easy because this will be just h and k. So the vertex, this is positive 3, so it'll be negative 3. This is positive 1, it will be positive 1. Remember that the h is the only one that's the opposite. But on problem number 1, it's not as easy to find the vertex. It actually requires to do a bit of work. We need to be able to find the vertex by using the vertex formula. And we have negative b over 2a. Remember, this is the value of a, the value of b, and the value of c. We are going to substitute negative b over 2a. B is 4, A is 2. That will give you negative 4 over 4 is equal to negative 1. That is the x value. To find the corresponding y value, we just need to be able to plug in the negative 1 into the x. I need to find the vertex. I found the x value by using the vertex formula for the x value. Once I find the x value, I can plug it in to find the corresponding y value. We have 2x squared plus 4x plus 1. But instead of the x will be a negative 1. Remember, to be able to do order of operations, we need to be able to do the exponent first. Negative 1 squared is 1, and then you multiply by 2, gives you 2. That gives you negative 4 plus 1. That will give you y is equal to negative 2. 2 minus 4 is negative 2 plus 1. Y is equal to negative 1. Once you have your y value for the vertex and your x, we can go and plot it. In this case, my vertex will be negative 1 and negative 1. This is a point. That's a vertex. I'm going to draw the line of symmetry, and a lot of you guys are forgetting to draw the line of symmetry. Now, remember that you need to write down the equation for the line of symmetry. This is a vertical line, so it's going to be x is equal to a number. And where is it crossing the x-axis? It's crossing at negative 1. So that's the equation for the line of symmetry. X is equal to negative 1. Now I need to be able to plug in different values for x. Remember, you can plug in whichever value you want, but you want to be able to be close to the line of symmetry. So it'll give you points close to it, so to the line of symmetry. If you select a point over here, the value might be too high for you to graph. You might end up with a very large number. So you want to be able to just go to the right. This is negative 1, so I'm going to plug in a 0 for the x, and I'm going to plug in a positive 1. I'm going to let x equal to 0 into this equation. Y is equal to 2x squared plus 4x plus 1. But instead of the x, I'm going to plug in a 0. This, remember exponents 2. First, 0 squared is 0 times 2 will give you 0. That gives you 0. 4 times 0 is 0. So we just end up with positive 1. If your x value is 0, your corresponding y value is 1. That gives you the next point. If your x value is 0, your corresponding y value is 1. And you're going to reflect it to the opposite side of the line of symmetry. I need to find another set of points. So I'm going to let x equal to positive 1. You go to the right once again. That will give you a point somewhere over here. We have y is equal to 2, x squared plus 4, x plus 1. But instead of that, x will be a 1. I'm going to do the exponents first. 1 squared is 1, multiplied by 2 gives you 2. 4 times 1 is 4, and we just have a plus 1. That gives me 4 plus 1. 2 plus 4 is 6. 10 plus 1, y is equal to 7. Therefore, if your x value is 1, your corresponding y value is 7. So if your x value is 1, your corresponding y value is 7. 2, 4, 6, 7. And your other point will be on the opposite side of the line of symmetry. From here, you can go and draw your parabola. Remember, it has to be a U, no longer a V. Arrows on both sides. Now, we also have the following questions. Vertex, is that maximum or minimum? Is that minimum or maximum? In this case, this is the lowest point, so your vertex is the minimum. Is your parabola facing up or down? It's facing up. Let's continue with problem number 2. On problem number 2, we need to be able to solve by the square root. And the way I remember what to do is basically the Q. That means that we need to be able to make a line by square root. I want to be able to leave the quantity that's being squared, x minus 3 squared, by itself before I take the square root. Therefore, I'm going to move my negative 3 to the right, becomes a positive 3. That gives me negative 2. X minus 3 squared is equal to negative 100. I need to leave the x minus 3 squared by itself. Many of you guys are tempted to distribute the negative 2. You can't because of this square. Remember, you cannot distribute the negative 2. I want to leave the x minus 3 squared by itself. I'm going to divide by negative 2 on both sides. Divide by negative 2 on the left. Divide by negative 2 on the right. That will cancel out. I have x minus 3 squared is equal to negative divided by negative is going to be positive, so we just have positive 50. Now I can get rid of the square. I'm going to take the square root on the left and on the right. The square root cancels, so I have x minus 3 is equal to the square of 50. If you want, you can do your factor tree. So 10 times 5, that's 5 times 2. So go your prime numbers. Place them inside the square root and take out your twins. That comes out as a 5 outside. Inside, I still have my square of 2. That's one way of doing it. Or the way I prefer to do it is, okay, what is a perfect square that divides 50? 25 times 2 gives you 50. The square of 25 is 5, and I still have my square of 2. And don't forget your plus or minus. Every time you take the square root on both sides, you have two answers, one positive, one negative. And the last step to be able to leave the x by itself, I'm going to move my x to the right, becomes say positive. X is equal to positive 3 plus or minus 5, the square root of 2. Let's continue to the next problem. Problem number 3. Solve by factoring. Solve by factoring. That means I need to be able to factor it. First, you want to make sure that it's equal to 0. So in this case, it's already set up. It's already equal to 0. I want to be able to factor the left-hand side. First, let's see if we can find a common factor. Is there a number that divides 3? 10 and 8? No. Do they all have an x? No. So in this case, I can't take out common factors. I'm just going to do my double parenthesis equal to 0. Factors of 3x squared will be 3x and x. Factors of negative 8. This is a negative 8. That means that one of them has to be negative, the other one has to be positive. So whenever you add them, it has to give you a positive 10. I'm going to use 2 times 4, because that will give me 12, and 2 minus 2 will give me 10. I want to make my 12 a positive, and that one negative. You want to double check to make sure that you have factored correctly. So let me double check. I know that 3x times x is 3x squared. 3x times 4 is positive 12x. Negative 2 times x is negative 2x. If I add them together, does it give me positive 10x? Yes. It matches. And if I multiply negative 2 times 4, it gives me negative 8. Now that we have factored, we can use the zero product property. Now the zero product property tells us that we have two numbers, this is one, or two factors multiplying and equal to 0, that one of them have to be equal to 0 or both. So we can use our zero product property. We're going to place 3x minus 2 equal to 0, x plus 4 equal to 0, and we are going to solve for x. Move that 2x to the right, becomes a positive, gives me 3x is equal to 2. I'm going to divide by 3 on both sides, so x is equal to 2 over 3, 2/3. I'm now going to move my 4 to the right hand side, becomes a negative, x is equal to negative 4. So I have two solutions. One of them is 2/3, the other one is negative 4. Problem number 4. It says, use the discriminant to determine the number and type of solutions. So we need to be able to use the discriminant. The discriminant is b squared minus 4ac. It'll tell us how many solutions it has in the number. So let's go and first find the discriminant. The discriminant will be b squared minus 4ac. Remember, it has to be equal to 0, and it has to be on standard form. This is the value of a, the value of b, and the value of c. Now I can just plug it in. B squared, that'll be 3 squared, minus 4a, which is 2, c is negative 3. And we are going to simplify. Gives me 9, that is negative 8 times negative 3. 9 plus 24 is 33. That's the discriminant. Remember how we are memorizing our discriminant. This is 0, or positive numbers are to the right, or negative numbers are to the left. 2 imaginary, 1 real, 2 real. Since it's positive, we have 2 real solutions. We have 2 real solutions. So we found the discriminant to be 33. We found the number of solutions. We have 2. And the type of solutions are real.